Hey Cedar Valley, it's Grant here with a thought for you today. In reflecting a Bible reading plan we've been doing together as a church called Reframe, and really actually that technically is wrapped up right now, but we've kept it up on our website because what it is we together as a church wanted to walk through reading the Gospels and really focusing on the life of Jesus and his disciples. And we called it Reframe because we wanted as a church to really refocus and direct our efforts, our priorities, and really our core values entirely on the teachings and ministry of Jesus Christ. And so even though the official reading plan is over, we've left it up on our website. So head over there, cedarvalley.ca, download it, print it out, read it, catch up. That'll be great. Some of us, I know, are still like halfway through, so that's okay. Anyways, as we read along through the life and ministry of Jesus, you can't help but learn intimately about the men who followed Jesus, who Jesus led, who he taught. They're called the disciples. They were extraordinary, and I mean that as a term that we could stretch out and literally read extraordinary. While they were involved in miraculous ministry and literally they were a major part of building the faith, Christianity, they didn't have any superhuman strength. They didn't have incredible wisdom. They didn't have an Iron Man suit or even fearlessness and bravery. In fact, they were littered with common faults that all of us can relate to. What they did have, though, is what I heard a minister once call the godly ability of availability. The disciples simply had an open hand with their time, their goals, their comforts, their securities. They prioritized their time for God above all of their comforts. Now, I know what you're going to say, Grant, I dedicate so much of my time to everything, my family, my job, the church, it's all there. I have all my priorities, but there's not an inch of time. And I get that. Believe me, as somebody who has found COVID-19 to somehow double my workload, I get that our modern day time prioritization doesn't make sense to add stuff, right? And really, I'm not asking you to add things. In fact, here's a thought for you, is to expand your understanding of the term availability to more than just doing things that cost you time. And in fact, with all the stuff that you fill your time with, what is your availability like for God in your social media life? What is your availability like in your home chores or your workplace or your phone call conversations? Right now, I love seeing the generous testimony and place of sharing the gospel that Facebook and Instagram have become. And in fact, now churches, as we've all been forced to move online, the internet is now flooded with and littered with the gospel sharing. It's on every feed. And that's an amazing thing. And I love seeing how much of a lot of you even have started stepping up your game of sharing this and speaking your own testimonies into these platforms. But really, if we want to take an honest look at what was common and a theme throughout the Gospels, is the fact that the disciples weren't just consumers of content. They didn't sit and listen to Jesus and just absorb all that, and then Jesus left and they were filled with knowledge. It was like not even 50%. They would listen to Jesus' teachings and immediately go and live it out. So really, a beautiful note I'd like to end this on. I think a good challenge for us and a good encouragement too is that while a lot of the world right now may see the church as closed, and I use that with quotation marks because in fact we're just as busy and sharing the gospel and lives are being changed as much as ever, instead we can show the world that the church is multiplying, and right now on every home and every device and every media feed and every phone call. And you can be part of that too by sharing your gospel, your testimony in it. The gospel of God, but your testimony of how the gospel has changed your life. Share that in whatever means you have for connections right now, within your family, out the windows, staying, physically distant, of course, still, but take those opportunities and really start to assess what your life looks like, especially now more than ever at home, what your availability for the work of God in your life looks like. Thanks, Cedar Valley.